Good evening. This is Defacto Review, a weekly in-depth analysis of social and economic affairs here in Mongolia. And we have our columnist and economist, Mr.Jargalsaikhan. Hi.
Good evening.
And my name is Tarit. And for today, we have three topics. And these are Mongolia's top 100 companies that were awarded, Petrochina Dachin Tamsag oil company, and we'll be talking about on youth unemployment. So for our first topic, to award Mongolia's top 100 companies, an event was held last Monday organized by the government of Mongolia and the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The companies were selected based on 5 criteria, and these are taxes paid to the government, number of employees, total annual income, profits, and assets. And since I cannot name all of the 100 companies, I will name 10 top companies. And these are Ижнэт Mining Corporation, Оюут Толгой, Ижнэт Таван Толгой, Хан Bank, Голомт Bank, Улаанбаатар Railways, Trade and Development Bank, State Bank, NIC, and Energy Resources. Out of the 100 companies, the most selected sectors were trade and service sector with 29 companies and mining sector with 22 companies. And the sector with the least selections were light industry with only 1 company selected. So my question to you, Mr. Jargalsaikhan, is were you expecting these rankings? What did you find the most interesting?
You know, this ranking became a tradition since 2000 with the new century start, but the exception was, I think, in COVID. Because the COVID last year, that's why it's 21st time it is organized. And the very fact that the Prime Minister was giving a speech, giving bows to this top 100 companies in spite of economic difficulties in the country. So that was a particularly remarkable thing. There are 18 companies, new entrances. I would like to particularly highlight one is Teso Foods. It's very much good, modern products, good package, new export-oriented products. But the second highlight for me is this Central Express, or we call it CU. This Korean convenience store chain, which becomes so rapidly growing in the country, its network, and it gives, export-oriented. It gives economies of scale to Mongolian companies, because once you provide your product to one of them, you need now to provide to 200 branches. That's serious economies of scales, which was not the case in Mongolia. Because the small market, a company needs really seriously a lot more volume, which relatively can be provided by this company. And also, this one is, they have 16,000 outlets in Korea. So once the Mongolian company can provide their products to the 200 outlets of this company, they can also provide with the same success to 16,000 outlets in Korea, which is very substantial size. And also, now this company, founded in August 2018, for the last 4 years, today they have 208 branches, 2,600 employees, and some 500 suppliers. So this is, I found quite interesting news for this year top 100 company. The other one I noticed also, there are out of 112 state-owned enterprises, which is remarkable. 3 of them are quite new in the list, but some companies are old. For example, Miat, Mongol Telecom, and Shive Ova Coal Mine. But I'm surprised. However, I'm surprised that Miat is which has a loss, which have expensive ticket, which is under the subsidized support of the government, and still listed in this, the best, let's say, top 100. It doesn't say best 100, it's top 100. So that I found a little bit surprise.
Speaking of the companies not being the best but rather the top, I would like to ask you about the criteria. They're selected based on the 5 things. Taxes, number of employees, annual income, profits, and assets. Do you think this is a good predictor of the selection? Would you have it any other way?
I have also, there was always discussions about the criteria. Legislators, policy makers. So they are confusing, and why these names are there, I don't understand. Instead, I would say, as you ask it, what are the best criteria is competitiveness, not only for domestic market, for international market. Also, another one is diversification of our export. Instead of just the raw mineral, raw materials, semi-processing, if they produce the final products, which is way evaluated, at this time in particular when the whole world needs many metals that we have as ore, but we need to, those who are processing. Some example, there is a company who is producing now already powder metals. So those companies are to be the best companies, I think.
That makes perfect sense, and I agree with that. My next question to you is, together, I mean, these top companies made up 82% of the total GDP of Mongolia. What do you think of this? Is this a good number?
It's a good number, and it's very much big question. Why? Mongolia has 100,000 registered companies. And just 100 of them make 82% of the economy. Is very strange. What happened to 99,900 companies? They are just producing only 18% of GDP, right? First question. And these 100 companies producing 82% of GDP, employee only 9% of the labor. The question comes, what happened with the 90% of the workers or labor of Mongolia? I mean, what are they doing? Who is appreciating or not appreciating what they do? Why are they neglected, 99,900 companies? Who is taking care of their interests? Why they cannot be the best? Who is giving that incentives to this 99,000 companies? Another question, the Mongolian National Commerce and Mongolian National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It has only 6,000 members out of this 100,000 companies. Why? Are they not meeting their interests? Are they not serving them? Are they not? Why these so many companies are not interested to be member of this Chamber of Commerce? Who is, by the way, ranking all these top 100 companies every year? So these are the normal questions we need to ask. So this kind of questions always coming after ranking these 100 companies.
Those are very, very good questions. Thank you. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic, which is on the Petrochina Dachin Tamsag company. There's been a long history with this company, and it's one of the major oil and gas companies, and it's been said that it's been violating Mongolian laws, polluting our environment, and harming local communities while extracting oil from Mongolia. And a number of environmental protection movements in the country have jointly sent a report to the government, namely the president, the parliament speaker, and prime minister, demanding an inquiry into how we're allowing Petrochina to violate Mongolian laws. And recently, the Standing Committee on Security and Foreign Policy submitted a draft resolution to increase Mongolia's benefits from Petrochina, and it was approved on Tuesday, the May 24th. So my question to you is, before discussing about the draft resolution, what is the history between our country and this company?
This is a very delicate question, and that's Mongolian people would like to know more about this Petrochina Dachin Tamsag company. Since I was working in Mongolian Petroleum Company at the foundation of it, early 90s, what was happening at that time was Mongolia was into the huge economic crisis. Russia had left. With it, the subsidy to Mongolian economy has gone. We had almost nothing. Shelves in shops were almost empty, except salt only. Then the government had decided to create on Mongolian Petroleum Authority with the aim that we will make exploration of oil. The first company who came to Mongolia is British Petroleum, and they have some geologists who made the surface exploration. Okay. And based on their help and findings, Mongolian Petroleum Company made petroleum exploration blocks, 21 of them, all around the country, the south of the country, from the northeast to all the way to south, covering now South Gobi markets, Bayonhongora also partially. So then, at that time, the most prominent classical way of attracting foreign direct investment in petroleum field was production sharing contract. Okay. The concept of petroleum sharing contract is, okay, you are the foreign company, you are granted this block, you after a certain payment, whatever, then if you do your exploration, if you're lucky to find, then you will be the company who will produce oil there. It takes 20 years, a long time. Contract, agreement, and we made a regulation for that. All three documents: petroleum law, production sharing agreement, and the regulation of it. All three documents are always approved by the parliament, so that it doesn't change every day. So it went for many years. And almost 20 years, no change. Then they have changed the law, and now this standing committee basically suggesting to change the law, to change the agreement. That's the story how everything started. But however, as I said, the first company, Mongolian Petroleum Company made all these documents. Then we made a road show to attract foreign investment to petroleum field of Mongolia. We went to Texas, New York, London, and explained about our blocks, which are made with the help of professionals, with foreign professionals and other countries' experiences. And the first company to come here was Soko International. There was a consortium with that company. Then they have sold in 2005 all their rights to Petrochina. Petrochina is the largest Chinese company. And in 2005, without much public information, they have suddenly changed the owner. So that was the start where the people started asking questions: how come, why we didn't, why China, etc. And today it has 554 Mongolian and 320 Chinese workers. It has a huge field. They produce petroleum, and they transport the whole petroleum product, raw petroleum or oil, by trucks to closest refinery in Inner Mongolia, Arshan nearby. That's the name of the Inner Mongolian city, where they used to have a huge petroleum processing center. And with the time, their reserve went down, and I think thanks to this Mongolian petroleum, they are refining Mongolian crude oil in China. According to Bat Timur, who is the head of that standing committee of the parliament, we discussed 24% of all produced oil only belongs to Mongolia. That's what he's saying. In general, the information about this company production sharing agreement was not very much publicly known. And nowadays, only the discussions comes. That's why we would like to highlight today this review. And then another problem he was mentioning was there is a chemical waste, 590 tons that have not processed or cleaned, or there is some problem with the chemical waste of the company. Petroleum company, producing petroleum company, every country has particular plan on recovery, on nature protection plan, which is approved by the related ministry of each country. And in our case, our nature protection ministry is to take care of, to approve their plan. And they turned out the last year one was not approved. A year before, they have done only 40% of they are supposed to do. So looks like there is a problem. And another problem was, according to this Bat Timur MP, he said that we use 2 liters of water for 1 liter of gas, or a liter of crude oil. And we don't have proper price for that water, which is important because this Gobi, Sima Gobi place in Dorn Gobi Amak, Tamsag is in Dorn Gobi Amak. So that's why this standing committee have asked the government to set a special working group who will prepare amendments to the agreement, to the production sharing agreement, etc. But also, we should not forget that we are now building up a refinery which is supposed to receive petroleum, raw crude oil from the same company. You have only one petroleum production company, that is Petrochina Dachin Tamsag. And according to the agreement, when we have own refinery, we should buy from them at international price their share. We take our share, then we buy at international price their share. That is expected now. By the end 2025, the refinery should be in full swing operation. And also I should mention about 530 kilometers long pipeline is to be put there. It's quite hard work. Nowadays, I understand the international tender was announced, and one company, I understand Chinese company, is selected or won that tender. So that's what we are waiting for now.
I would like to ask you about the draft resolution. How effective do you think it is?
I don't think it is at this level is very effective, because government can receive only a resolution from the plenary sessions of parliament, not the standing committee. It's kind of at the level of recommendation, as far as I understand. One. Second, this agreement is international agreement. Okay, production share agreement. Agreement means two sides to agree. They had agreed to carry out all this project for, 20, 30, 40 years, because petroleum project is for very long term. And it is just start of dialogue of two parts to discuss why and what provisions of this law to be changed. So it should not be by a force of one side to change. So it's quite a long negotiations beginning. That's how I start. But I'm worried about having our politicians thinking too much about next election and being very just popular to change this agreement. Looks like agreements need to be changed, but it is to be changed by both sides upon agreement why they are changing.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to the third topic on youth unemployment. According to the study by Laureate Foundation, they saw that though the Mongolian youth education enrollment is very high, the employment rate is relatively low. And specifically, they found out that 1 in 5 people aged 15 to 29 is unemployed. Although they make up 21% of the total population, they make up 41% of the unemployed population. And this is a very alarming number. The foundation warned that if we do not pay attention to this issue in the future, the active participation of young people in the labor market will decrease and economic benefits may decline. So my question to you is, some or many might think that the unemployment is due to job shortages. But could it be due to the institutions that are not preparing these youths with the qualified training skills?
To me, there is no shortage of jobs in Mongolia. Why? Because you see a lot of job announcements.
Yeah.
But it's a mismatch of skills and jobs, demand, right? And one is education issue, including vocational training, technical training issue. In many countries, the more education level, the more opportunity for jobs.
Yeah.
In Mongolia, vice versa, it turned out. Now, these unemployed young people, 63% have completed 8 or 12 years education, secondary education have completed. 63%. 25% even high education. Only 6.2 has a college or vocational training skills. So these people looks like they have education.
Yeah.
So is it a quality of education, or is it mismatching the education purpose with the market demand? That's an issue. I think we need to address these two issues.
So you just said there's no shortages of job, but rather there's a mismatch of vocational training and mismatch of skills and
jobs demand. Yes.
Right. Do you think is there anything else besides those two?
Yes, there is also this foundation shows that there is so-called NEET, N-E-E-T category, which says neither in education nor or employed or training. So in that category, every 5th Mongolian youth aged are there, or total 145,000 youth are in this category. That means no education, no training, and doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it's very warning statistics. And along with that, it has to do also with the informal sector. Over 80% of employed youth aged 15 to 19 years work informally. And 1/3 of 29 years age group were working in the informal economy in 2019, 3 years ago. Why? I believe there are two reasons. One, these young people are paid way less working in the formal sector compared to formal sector. You know why? Because there is a new law or change in our law about social insurance system. They say that even you hire somebody for hour based or a part-time worker, you still pay as it was their full-time social insurance, which altogether is almost 1/3 of the salary, which really discourage companies to hire young people for part-time. It's instead to push on employees to a little bit overwork or task to be increased. That's one of the reasons it's become expensive. The other issue is skill issue. Why most of this in informal sector, the young people work without any skills, just physical hard work. Digging the hole or the canal, etc. And they are kind of, the employer is training them, and even they are paying very little, or sometimes even not paying, because that the young people are not very much discouraged to work. That's why this NEET category is increasing. That's so far I understand in that way.
That makes sense. Now that we've talked about all the issues, how do you think we could provide more opportunities?
We need to provide jobs, get them available. But when I say we need, it means business must provide jobs. State and public organizations are just distributing values, getting taxes, and those people who are working for the state are part of it, distributing the values. Who are creating the values? Private companies. In Mongolia, a lot of public companies. Unfortunately, badly managed public companies amount keep increasing, because these people are coming only for the term when their political party had won the election. So they have very short-term vision. Private companies have a longer vision. That's why the best employer or the job opportunities provider are private companies. Employment is not the aim of the business. This strange idea is coming from our communist system. The companies are not existing to provide jobs. The companies are existing to create values.
Right.
Okay? That's why business creates jobs. When in particular the business is growing, they create more jobs. And it should be not by the voluntarily wish of that employer. It should go because competition. If you don't do it, your competitors will do it. So the question is, in order to have jobs, as you asked, for young people, for everybody, we need normal business freedom and free market competition, fair competition, free price, which are a problem in Mongolia, which is shown very clearly. I will fund the World Bank Doing Business report for 2022, based on the last year report, in which out of 180 countries in the world, Mongolia takes overall only 90th place. We are in the middle of all countries. But hopefully this new recovery policy of this current government will do more better jobs, and we will be ranking even better. That's what is.
Nice. Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Jargalsaikhan. Now, this concludes our analysis for this week, and we will be back this time next week. Thank you for watching us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.